Hey guys, welcome to Switchcraft and Switchery. I'm Ryan, and today Jeremy and I are going to be talking about Mario Kart World. We've been playing this game a lot since the Switch 2 came out. I think I've got about 30 hours in the game. Do you know how many hours you've got in it, Jeremy?
I'm about the same, about 30 as well.
Okay. So we're going to be talking about our thoughts kind of on this game. You know, retail is $80 for this game. And we'll give our thoughts as we go and see if it's worth that. So first thing to note for sure, we both got the bundle. So we didn't pay $80 for it, but I think we've played enough of the game so far to give a solid recommendation on if you're going to pay $80, do we think you should do that? So let's dive in and we'll talk about what our thoughts are here. So first off, this game looks awesome. Like visually, it is next gen. Like, it is Nintendo's version of next gen, and it's so cool to see that. You know, I mean, the Switch 2 is obviously like pretty high fidelity, but yeah, everything just looks like super sharp. It doesn't look overly real, but there's like just a level of detail that, you know, hasn't really been in any sort of like Mario game before. I feel like even like Odyssey, like this is just the next level beyond that. The tracks too look freaking awesome. Like, I mean, like Rainbow Road. There's like Star. I can't remember the name of it. It's like Starview Peak, I think it is. Like both of those tracks. Bowser's Castle looks freaking incredible.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's a good one.
So. Yeah, I mean, visually, the open world with all the weather changes and all the, you know, the day and night, dude, it looks really, really good. Like, I have to give props to Nintendo on that. So, what are some stuff that you've seen so far that you're pretty excited about?
Well, I think right away, as soon as I started my first race and I got into my first turn, I was like, whoa, the controls feel different. Mm-hmm. And I've been playing on the new Pro Controller, which in its own right is like a really great experience too. It's really smooth, but there's just this like smooth, glossy feeling to the turning. I don't really know how to describe it. You just kind of have to feel it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it feels better in my opinion. The way can think to describe it best is like. It's almost like going from a D-pad to an analog stick. Mm-hmm. Like the way that there's more depth to it or something. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. You just have to feel it. But another thing control-wise is obviously a new thing with this game is you drive on water instead of just going underwater to like a section of track that doesn't feel any different. It's just like you're underwater. But I love the way like the water driving feels. It has kind of like a Wave Runner 64 kind of feel to it, in the way like
it does.
And the waves are not. It's not like it's just like the game is like wave. Like it has fluctuation in it. Like it feels like you're playing a Wave Runner game, which is really cool.
Well, and I think in like one of the developer interviews, they talked about how they really wanted to get that right, and I guess they went back like several times and like reworked it and like the white caps so that you could like get the jumping correct. Like
dude,
it feels like really excellent.
Yeah, I love the way the water feels. It's really cool, and the flying is a little different too. It's a little more smooth and like touch sensitive, and there's a little bit of a learning curve there, especially if you're in the areas where you're like trying to make it through the rings and get the boosts and all that, or like land at a certain spot.
I tend to overshoot really nice. Those still.
Me too. Yeah, I mean, anything else control wise? I mean, we've got the jumping and wall riding and the grinding and stuff. I'm still kind of getting that down. I'm gonna be honest, there's times where it doesn't feel super consistent to me. Like I'll hit the trigger and like it doesn't like react. Or I think the hard thing is when you're coming out of a drift or like off of a jump, like it doesn't always like register right or something. Maybe that can be cleaned up in a patch, but Yeah, anything else like control wise or just like the feel and looks of it?
Yeah, I definitely think it feels. I don't know if accurate. Like, you know, I've played definitely quite a bit of racing and kart games, but it feels better than Mario Kart 8. I can say that for sure. It feels like tighter, but somehow more fluid. Like, I think you kind of mentioned that.
Yeah,
like,
fluid. That's a good way to put it.
like, man, drifting in this game, like especially on like Rainbow Road, like there's this part where you're kind of going in like a Z or kind of like a blocky section, and just like going between those, it just feels like I feel like a pro drifting that, even though I'm just doing it probably how you should be doing it, right?
Yeah.
But it feels really good. I really love the handling that they've got nailed down in this game.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
We've got outfits, which is a cool new thing.
Yeah.
A lot of characters, and the whole outfit thing is a lot more fun than I was expecting. It kind of gives me incentive to play as different characters and try to unlock their gear, and it's kind of confusing because different characters have different amounts of outfits. Like some only have 2 or 3, some have like 6. And I'm like, okay, do I have all of them? Or some of them have none, which is kind of a bummer. I wish that every character at least had like one. Like I've just been picturing like Cal wearing a hat, or like the dolphin wearing sunglasses or something. I think that would be really fun. But yeah, I saw that in the direct and I was like, oh, that's cool. But it's turned out to be like one of my favorite smaller things in the game. It's just a lot of fun to play with. So, and there's a lot of really good looks. We'll come back to it, but I think we were going to talk about like we'll talk about our favorite like character mains and stuff here in a little bit. But I have a few more things, but I kind of took over. What else did you have?
Yeah, so I think one of the most interesting things to me is like how they've reworked a lot of the tracks. You know, obviously they're all connected. That's kind of the whole like world aspect, but like, you know, you've got a lot of these classic tracks, you know, that feel fresh, but they feel very familiar, which is such a hard thing to do, right? Like to not just copy what you've done before, but like it's almost like they brought various sections of different tracks that you are super familiar with. Like Moo Moo Meadows would be my like primary example, with like the windmills and like the Monty Moles jumping up, and you know, you go through there and like the whole track feels different than you've played before in Moo Moo Meadows, but then like there are these sections that are just like, hey, remember this? Like I've really loved that familiarity, you know, with all the classic tracks, but yet it just feels like so fast and new and everything. So that's been pretty awesome. There's no more kart customization. That's something that's new. I never was like a huge fan of like putting all the pieces together, but you know, it seemed like because Mario Kart 8 was out for such a long time, that kind of became like, I guess you would call it like a de facto staple of the Mario Kart series. But it's like, well, it never was a thing before Mario Kart 8, so we don't really have to have it the same. So, but
yeah, it feels like work.
Yeah.
At this point. And I guess the only caveat I would say is like, there's some karts where it's like, man, I wish I could just balance out the acceleration and speed a little bit more.
Yeah, I would agree there.
Tiny adjustments like that in Mario Kart 8, you could like swap out your wings or something and maybe slightly alter your weight a little bit. But for the most part, yeah, I don't really miss that. And it just makes it snappier to get into the game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that doesn't bother me. One thing, another thing that I wasn't expecting to enjoy as much as I am, and I don't think you said you got a chance to try this yet, but playing local multiplayer with the camera is really fun. I don't have the Nintendo camera. I ended up getting one of my already owned webcams to work. But the way it works is basically you have it plugged in, and when you start a multiplayer, it's like, do you want to play with the camera? And you click yes, and then the camera feed pops up on your TV, and then however many players there are, there's like a little circle, and you move the circle to your face, and then just hit A, so the game knows like which person on the screen you are, and then from there it tracks your face while you play. and it's really funny to just like pass people, or like when people pass you and they can like make faces at you, or if you hit them with the shell, it'll like spin around, and there's like different animations when different things happen, and yeah, just like a little thing. Like I saw that in the direct, and I was like, that's cool, I guess. But then when I actually got to do it for the first time, I was like, dude, this is like corny, but this is really fun.
Yeah.
Like it just adds like a goofiness to it, and like that's Mario Kart's thing. Like it's arcade, and it's just fun. So I really like it. One random thing. This was my last thing, so I'll spit it out, then I'll turn it over to you. But I forgot that the rewind mode even existed. I haven't done it even. I don't even know how do you do it? Is it like the D-pad or something?
Yeah, so it's down on the D-pad.
Okay.
Yeah, so I actually have used that a lot more than I thought I would, but only
Really?
in certain circumstances. Like, there's been a couple. I've never used it in a race, but I have used it plenty of times in the open world. It's like, hey, I'm trying to get somewhere, and I like drive off of something, and it's like, well, there's no good way to get back, but I can just rewind back to the top. Or like I'll be completing a challenge. Like there was one where I think I was actually in like airplane mode and like went past the goal, and I had like 8 seconds to like win or complete the challenge. So I just went back and then like turned and got it. And I'm like, so I found it like slightly useful, but not kind of like what they maybe advertised it for in the direct. Like I can't imagine. I actually think I did something with it that you and I talked about in like one of our previous videos, where I was about to finish a race and I accidentally hit the down on the D-pad somehow, and it made me lose.
Oh, yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I need to try it, because like I just forgot it even existed. I haven't touched it, so
yeah, I've seen some people like trying to figure out how to use it as like a hack for different stuff, like, you know, if like you like not to lose acceleration when you get hit or something. But I'm like, yeah, I can't imagine like as using it right now, I can't imagine ever actually using it in a race.
yeah. I talked about this in another video, and this is kind of our topic, but the first week or 2 weeks, in the midst of Mario Kart, I did a playthrough of Pokemon Violet and already finished it. And so a lot of my like non-Mario Kart time was focused on that. And when I was playing Mario Kart, after the first week, I kind of like phased out of free roam. I'm not uninterested in it anymore. I think just like the time that I was putting into Mario Kart, I wanted to be playing something like Knockout Tour, and we'll get to that too.
Yeah.
I wanted to be doing something else, just because like free roam. We'll also get to this, but free roam needs some work.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool, but you know, we'll get to that here in a little bit.
So let's talk. Like we talked a little bit about the controls and stuff, but like the overall racing feels so high energy. Like I you know, when they said they were putting in like 24 racers, I was like, okay, yeah, that's gonna be wild. It is really chaotic. Like,
well, I was thinking, okay, 24 racers. I wasn't thinking about 24 racers throwing items.
yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, like if you're in like the pack or whatever, you can go, it's crazy. Like you can go from like third all the way back to like 22nd in like no time flat.
Seconds.
And
dude, it's crazy.
like just getting hammered with stuff. And the thing is like it's all kinds of different crap, you know, like, well, and like people will drive by and you might get like hit by a shell, and then all of a sudden you get hit by like lightning, and then like, yeah, it's it can be like really, really infuriating. But I feel like the game does give reasonable opportunity to like catch up, like if you get that far back. But like there's been a couple times in Knockout Tour where I'm in like, somehow I get hit and then I'm in an 8th or whatever, and I'm like, I'm completely screwed. Like I know that there's no way I'm coming back from this,
dude. It's like the most, and again, we'll come back to Knockout Tour, but it's so demoralizing when you realize you're done.
Yeah.
And like you've got 2 or 3 turns and you're like 2 or 3 spots back, and you can see up ahead and you're like, there's no way I can catch them. I'm out of like mushroom. Like there's nothing you can do.
Yeah. So let's talk about going in between the tracks. I mean, that's kind of one of the world aspects that they've added here, right? Like everything's connected. It's not its sort of own individual thing. What do you think about that? Like now that we're not racing individual tracks per se, and now we're like driving to the next track?
I'm torn on it. I have mixed feelings, and I think a lot of it depends on which one we're talking about, because there are some of the transitions where it's way too long. And I understand why in some cases, but it's too long. There are some that are just like, again, feel uninspired. It's just like a straight shot. But there's also some that I call it like the approach. I think that sounds cool. Like, the approach to Rainbow Road is super cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I do love like going between tracks and seeing the world change around me. But it does bother me how much of the race a lot of them take up. Like, there are some of them where the transition is like 2 of the 3 laps.
Yeah.
And then by the time you actually get to the track, you only do 1 lap on the track, and it's like, dude, I want to drive around this track a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's tough. And like, you can go into versus mode and do it all the normal way, but yeah, it's like, I don't know. I wish we had the option to turn it off, and I wouldn't even necessarily play it that way all the time, but it'd be nice to just be able to do like Grand Prix. And just, I'm going to drive 3 laps around whatever track. And I think like part of it is, it's obvious with this game, Nintendo wants you to play the game their way, and they want you to experience and implement these new things. And I get that, but I still wish there was a way to not have to. Even though in a lot of cases I do like the feature. That's kind of my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the tracks are so well designed, right? And the transitions are well designed as well. But like, there's some of those tracks, like you said, it's like, oh man, I actually wanted to do like another lap here, and it's like, well, the final lap is all you really got, with that track. So yeah, I kind of agree there. I'd love to see like a mod or something. Well, not a mod, but a different mode where it's like, hey, you just play kind of the old style, right?
It's called classic mode.
Yeah, classic mode. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. One of like the criticisms, and like, I'll admit it's bothered me at times too, but like one of the criticisms with this game is like the large like sections of straight, and like, again, that bothers me. But also, I think the game balances that out with the crazy meta characters and the crazy amount of items. I think that's how they kind of balance those 2 things together. Is like, there's not as many tight turns all the time with like punishing fall offs, but in those straight moments there's so much going on. There's items everywhere. You can like swerve off and try to get the food bags. There's traffic. There's cars that have ramps on them, like built into them. I mean, that's not a new thing, but there's more of those. There's a lot more going on the straight sections than just like driving. Like, there's stuff everywhere. So it does kind of balance that out at times.
So something I wanted to kind of touch on is the music. We're both musicians, and I absolutely love like high level musicianship. Awesome. And
oh yeah,
if you would have told me before this game released, and I think I've said this again on some of our other videos, but if you would have told me that this might be some of the best video game music I've ever heard, I would be like, from Mario Kart? Like, I mean, it always has fun music, right?
Yeah, it's like kind of islandy and stuff, but this is like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, so I think you sent me a video, and like, I've read a bunch of stuff about the music, but just how they did all the music in here, they wanted to give it just a ton of energy, and so they did like a ton of live recordings and kind of like honed in on some of like, these like big band type things that they've had like remix concerts and things for. And dude, it just sounds so good, and the compositions are of such high quality. It's amazing to start hearing some sort of like prelude to a track, and you're like, oh, that sounds tight, and then you're like, wait, that's from like Mario 64, like,
dude,
but not in a way that I would expect, or WarioWare. Like,
Yeah.
It's truly incredible.
Yeah, and like I love like the Easter eggs and stuff. Like there's so many songs that I'm like, wait, this isn't a Mario Kart song, but it's like remixed or like reimagined, and like there's melodies that are
Mm-hmm.
like timeless, like the Bomb on Battlefield from Mario 64.
Yeah.
Like that might be my favorite video game song of all time. So like hearing that like randomly pop up and stuff like that, dude, it's awesome. And like that video, I wish I could shout out the person that did that because it was a really well done video.
Yeah.
But he was like talking about like the way that they make the songs musically transition with like your playing, like when when you reach a final lap, like it's not just a hard cut, like the music like transitions and to match that, but to match it musically, it's and like I know like in a lot of ways this has been done before, but it's just so much more deep, and if you don't pay attention you can miss it too because it just feels so natural when the things happen.
Yeah, it's not just a loop, the way that they kind of designed it is that you have these kind of like preludes that will like play when you get to like a certain section leading up to a new track, and then it like launches into the full track, and it builds that anticipation and excitement. Like it really is a next level thing. And there's so much of it. There's over 200 tracks in the game. Like I don't actually know the exact amount, but I've seen that everywhere. And I like when I've gone around in free roam, there are new songs that I've like heard after 30 hours of play, which to me is just, that's crazy, right? Like, so the music to me is not something I would have picked out to be my favorite thing, but I've heard several people talk about that online, about they're just like so impressed with the music. So Nintendo pretty much does a good job with their music most of the time, but I feel like this has got to be in like the top 5 games musically that I've ever heard. I mean, like I would put like like the Master Chief Suite up as like kind of my number one. Just the composition, the design for the gameplay, all of that stuff going into kind of the cinematic aspect of the Halo series. But for them to do what they've done here in Mario Kart World is like kind of the same thing but a different side of the coin. Like it's Nintendo's version, and holy crap is it really, really good.
Yeah, kind of a side note too, I know you're just like getting into Splatoon for the first time, but if you listen close, there's a lot of like similar vibes in Splatoon. The music in that I think is really, really, really tight. And I remember not too long ago seeing like there was some like video game thing in like Japan somewhere, where they had like a Splatoon concert, and I think it might have actually like gone together with like the Zelda Orchestra or something. And it's like this big like rave, and I think they have like Inklings on the screen, and they're doing like like weird noises, but like the band is performing live, and like the drummer is just like going freaking ballistic, and there's like these guitar solos that are just completely off the rails. Like I know we're talking about Mario Kart right now, but there's some wild stuff in that game too, and I think this game like takes that to a new level as well.
Yeah. So kind of moving on to like our next point, this game feels a whole heck of a lot more difficult than Mario Kart 8. I think we might have briefly touched on that other places, or maybe we were just like talking about that, but even firing up like 50cc for the first time, I was like, oh, like I've kind of got to work, to be successful here. And it just kind of feels like everything's like a step up. And, I actually was really appreciative of that because, I feel like in Mario Kart 8, I kind of just like blew through the game. And then it was like, I mean, pretty much every time like I play with, friends and stuff, if we play on like 100cc or whatever, because someone's like not really ever played Mario Kart or anything, like they're hanging on, but like everybody else is like way out in front. Like we're just getting destroyed. Okay. And I do not feel like that's the case here. I mean, I've had to work for my like gold trophies in 150cc for sure, where I feel like there were some times in Mario Kart 8 where that wasn't necessarily the case. I also feel like go ahead.
Go ahead. You finish your point, and then because I have a separate point.
I also kind of feel like the I guess you would call it like the Mario Kart algorithm, memes are back, like,
Yeah.
dude, I think I like sent you some snaps on how I was just getting so pissed off because I was playing this one knockout tour and I would get to the end and like it's literally luck at that point. Like I get hit by like 3 blue shells in like a row and then a lightning bolt, and then like 3 racers just passed me and I lost. I didn't even get the trophy. I was like so angry. So
my perspective has been like, I don't find the tracks to be harder.
Yeah.
I think the tracks themselves feel easier, but the AI is way stronger and the items are just constant chaos. Like they add those 2 things feel so much harder. Like when I was trying to get gold on everything on 150, like there are a couple cups that took me like 6, 7, 8 times to get it. And I was like, I feel like I'm racing well. Like I'm not falling off. Like I'm staying on the track. But like the AI is really tough and the items are just crazy. And there's like obstacles on the courses and stuff. And I think we were talking like when you were talking about being frustrated with that knockout tour or something. It seems kind of like you have better luck when you implement the new mechanics. Like it seems, I mean, I could be wrong on this, but it seems like the game, like the AI is built to respond to you playing the game you're supposed to, or the way you're supposed to, which is like doing the wall riding and the rails and like the flying mechanics and all that. So I don't know, that might be like, I could be off on that, but that seems like a reasonable tip.
So speaking of cups and all that, like, out of all the stuff you've played so far, like what would you say are probably like your favorite tracks that we've hit?
I made this list kind of speed round, just the ones that jump out to me off the top of my head. So the 3 I had put down were I'm pretty sure it's called Faraway Oasis, right?
Yeah, I think that's it. I'll have to get my Switch here and actually look through them.
Yeah, I just think that one's cool. It's like an African safari thing, and there's like zebras and giraffes running around, and like you're like driving through them as they run past you. I think that's really neat. The music is great in that one. DK Spaceport, which I think is the final track in the first cup. That one is super cool. Like at the end where you're like doing like the switchbacks, climbing up, and like the giant robot DK is like throwing barrels at you.
Yeah, that is really cool.
It's awesome. And then like I think when you get to the top, it goes into this section that's like clearly built for wall riding, where you like can go back. I can't get it right. It's tough, but like it's like this tight corridor, and you can like wall ride and bounce off the walls.
Yeah,
it's really cool. And then the third one, I could do a video on this. The Rainbow Road in this game is an experience.
Yeah, that's an excellent way to put it.
I stayed away from spoilers, so like I saw it for the first time, like when I unlocked the was it Special Cup or whatever it's called, and wow, it is. Well, so I said this a minute ago. It doesn't feel as challenging as past Rainbow Roads. Like the one in Mario Kart 8 is a really tough track.
Yeah.
This one doesn't, like I can get through it just fine without falling off. But like aesthetically, it is the best one to date in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And there's little like nods to past Rainbow Roads, like the train, and like things in the background going on. The way the track looks is like super colorful, and like it's like changing and all this, and there's these different sections where like the whole track changes. You're on water, and like the music as always is incredible. And we'll talk about like the transition tracks here in a second, but this is one of the transition tracks I really like, because like I just think the approach is really cool. Like it's a flying start, you fly in, and then it's pretty much a straight shot in these different boosters, and then you get the launcher thing, and then when you get to the top, the music changes like as you arrive, and it's like, whoa, I'm here. And dude, you just have to. It is awesome.
It really is.
So That's my three. I kind of went off the rails there and blad, but holy moly, is this Rainbow Road good?
Yeah, some of mine I'll just blaze through them real quick because we could be here all night talking about how
Oh yeah.
cool the tracks are. But like the Bowser's Castle stuff is really kind of the same thing. It's a visual treat. The tracks are designed super well and they're hard. Bowser's like airship. It again with like you're just going. It feels like chaos, like Mario, like the original Super Mario Brothers. And then I would say probably one of my favorite ones is probably like Whistle Stop Summit. The music is super cool in that. You're like grinding around. You can like hit on the rails and avoid the train. And then, oh man, I blanked on it. But the dinosaur track, that one is really fun. Like
Dino Jungle.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, that's one of my. That's a fun spot in the map to go to on free roam too.
Mm-hmm.
It's really neat down there.
Yeah, it's just super fun. You've got like a exhibit inside and like a T-Rex running around. Like, just really to me, that's kind of like the essence of Mario Kart. Like, it's just you're kind of driving around this unbelievable situation, with all this crazy chaos going on. So I really have enjoyed probably those tracks the most. So, what's kind of been your like main characters that you've kind of messed with, up to this point?
Yeah, I don't really have like a main per se, because I've been doing a lot of experimenting with like the different characters, trying to unlock all their outfits. The standout ones are like obviously Cal. Everyone's having a blast with Cal. I really like all the Yoshi outfits. I think those are fun. The Rosalina with like the backwards cap, I think that's a really cool one. She's just kind of hip looking. I like that one a lot. They really gave Waluigi. I feel like they're making up for Waluigi never being in Smash with this game, because Waluigis are awesome. There's like a vampire one.
Yeah.
I really like the biker Waluigi. It doesn't handle the best, but I like biker Waluigi with the one that's like a chopper.
Yeah.
It just looks awesome. I haven't had a lot of luck playing as that one, but it looks awesome. And then as far as vehicles, one thing interesting about this, like, I've never been a big fan of bikes, but I'm finding myself liking them a lot more in this game. So, I don't know, I feel like a lot of the karts don't have the best handling. And I feel like a lot of the bikes do. I don't know, they feel more responsive and like easier to turn and stuff. I really like the Rob Hog. That might be my favorite vehicle overall so far. And then like I really like the Magic Carpet. That's a fun one. The Rally Cart. And then the little Dumpy. It's like a toy, like Tonka truck looking thing. Those are probably mine. What about yours?
Yeah, so I have done a lot of stuff where I just like went through and was having so much trouble with the Knockout Tour 150cc. I would try to like stat out a cart, and so I was using, I think, the Parabitty Bud and the Baby Blooper cart, and it has like insanely high acceleration. I'm sure that there are other combos that are like that. So then when I would get hit, I could get right back up to a good speed, and like it seemed like the mini turbo boost was pretty good on it. But honestly, I think probably my favorite to play with is Mario in the pipe cart. Like, I've just really enjoy that. It feels like the right balance for my play style, good handling, like good acceleration. Again, kind of like what you were saying earlier about customization. I wish it were a little faster. And then probably my coolest thing that I like is Pauline. She's got like the racing suit that you can get. I like putting her in the bulldozer. It just looks like this kind of like old, like, it reminds me of like an old racing thing from like, the 30s or something like that,
Yeah.
And
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah. So she's driving this old car. She's kind of an old character, and she's got this like leather racing suit or whatever.
Yeah.
And everything, like, it handles really well. Like, I've enjoyed playing with it, but I think that's probably aesthetically my favorite one up to this point. So
yeah, I'm hoping. One of the things that I've noticed is like I feel like Pauline and Donkey Kong kind of got screwed on their outfits, and I'm hoping they have like one or two things come over
Hmm.
to coincide with like the Bonanza launch.
Yeah.
Like they've got to do it. Like, come on. Like,
Yeah, you
if
can't
you
give
could play
them
as like the young Pauline, like put that in Mario Kart. You could give Donkey Kong a couple things. So
yeah.
I feel like that's like a given.
They at
We'll
least have
see,
to give
but
Donkey Kong his britches now. Like,
yeah, yeah. He has one outfit. It's like Donkey Kong, really?
yeah,
I mean, Donkey Kong's isn't he an OG? Like the very original Mario Kart. He's been in every single one.
yeah.
Pretty sure. So
Well, speaking of trying to, get Knockout Tour working, going online, dude, Knockout Tour is insane. I have spent probably more time than I would like trying to get first, and I have yet to get first. I said this back. This may be before we even started the channel, but I feel like many people have said it up to this point. Like, Knockout Tour is like the battle royale of Mario Kart. Like, that's what it is.
Yep.
And holy crap, is it absolutely super fun and also infuriating at the same time.
Yes.
I have not gotten first. I've lost many times, but why don't you go into some of your exploits? Because I think you've had better luck than I have.
So I won an online once. I was playing as Peach with the Rob Hog, and it was weird. Like it was one of those ones where I wasn't doing great. Like there was a couple where I almost got eliminated early, and I was like, "Oh, I'm never playing this loadout again." And then I started doing better, and then I made it to the final four, and then I think I was like kind of tight with like second and third. And then I got like a golden mushroom or something, and then just flung forward. And for the last couple turns, I kept hitting X to see behind me, and like they were pretty far back. And then I saw them like at the final stretch, like boosting up, and I just like I didn't have any items, so I just held it and waited, and then I won, and I was like, ah! Like it was pretty late at night too. Like I like jumped up and was like cheering and. But yeah, I mean, and I've been on the receiving end of that a couple times. Like you're about to win, and someone boost past you at the finish line. I've got that
too many times.
It's brutal, and it's like, I mean, those things take a while too. Like if you make it to the end, it's like 15, 20 minutes. So it is. Oh man, it's brutal to lose. But dude, Knockout Tour is easily one of the most fun online multiplayer experiences I have ever played.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it's up there with like Smash Bros and Call of Duty and like Halo 2. Like, dude, it is so much fun.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's so intense, and like when you're in the final stretch of even the early ones, like it's so intense, and if you can make it to the end, dude, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And like losing feels horrible and winning feels awesome. Dude, it is so much fun. Now I want to turn this stream off or this recording off and play right now because, dude, it's fun.
Yeah. So
what a fun concept for Mario Kart.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Like, probably to me, if I were to put anything of Mario Kart World, of like what's the best thing that they've changed, and Knockout Tour would easily be my number one.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So let's kind of change gears and talk about the open world, right? Like we've talked a lot about the classic like Mario Kart aspects, Knockout Tour, but like I mean, it's world. There's a reason world's in the title. So let's kind of change gears and like give some thoughts about that. For starters, the world is really big. Like, I think it's taken, I tried to time this the other day, but I drove from like one side, like one corner to the other corner, from like the snow area all the way down to like the desert area. I think it took me almost 10 minutes just to drive that way. So it's really big, and it looks great. You can totally, I think it's really cool how you can like drive through your tracks, get connected and everything. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. All the detail and thought that they've put into the open world.
Yeah, it's cool. And like, I like just driving and just seeing the world around me change. That's one of the things that I do like about the transition tracks. Just you're going and like you see like the jungles start to fade away, and like the next thing kind of come into into view as you're approaching, and um, yeah, it's really cool. It just there's not a lot to do. I don't know. The P-switch missions, they're a step in the right direction, but it's not quite enough.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to divorce these kind of two things with the open world. Like on one hand, the world is like really really big. It's really awesome. You get to mess with all the tracks, which is like you don't get to just drive around a Mario Kart track, right, and explore it in any other game, which is great. But it also like it almost feels like a novelty. Like I don't want to say that it sucks because I think that would be the wrong term. I just think it doesn't really give you a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
And that kind of like leads me, I guess, to like the next point is like what would we say is missing from the open world? Because again, like if you think about just driving around in an open world, I feel like that's the total concept that we've kind of sold here is like that's what you do, and that's pretty much all there is here. I think the first thing, and we noticed this when we were playing like online together, where they kind of use the open world as like the lobby when you're doing online multiplayer, and so we were able to like meet up, and you really need an actual compass like on screen because you have your mini map.
Yeah.
But you have no way to like find a sense of direction. You can't set waypoints. You've got to like constantly toggle to the full map to like see your direction and like what obstacles you're going through. And I found that to just kind of really take away from it breaks the flow of the exploration because you're like, you can't, it's not like in Breath of the Wild where you can like pick a point and say like, hey, I'm going here, right? And I can see it on my mini map. I can see it on, when I like go, into like the viewer, you just kind of like just aimlessly wander, which in a way is cool, but also kind of gets old a lot faster than I would have liked.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see a navigation system added. Again, I've said this many times. I'm not a game developer. I could see that being like a pretty big thing, like to try to implement, especially after a game is already released. But at the very least, it's gotta have a compass.
Yeah.
Because it's just you're trying to go, so you have no idea where you're going, and like we kept losing each other, and like we were like, oh, let's like drive down to this area and see what it's like. But then like we would get like horribly off course. Pretty easily because like we would lose what direction we're going, and it's just it needs a compass.
Well, I think
at the bare minimum it needs that.
But I think even when you like load up the map, like you're not getting like, hey, I'm on this road or I'm next to this landmark. Like you've kind of just got like the tracks and then just kind of like topography kind of, and then even the roads aren't like labeled. They're just like different color of the terrain that you're driving through. So it's really hard to like pick out and stay on course and be like, okay, well, I'm driving forward and this road takes a right, so I need to like take a right up here, right? Like it's just really hard to stay on course. The next thing that I think is kind of a big thing that I don't like, again, I'm not here just to like bash on Mario Kart World, but I'm like, man, I feel like it was such a missed opportunity, like to not have the missions and collectibles that you do be worth something, right? Like you get a sticker and I'm like, you have 40 characters or something in this game and all these carts, and like, yes, you should be able to earn them by like I would have liked to see them say like, hey, you don't earn these by getting coins, right? Because that's kind of how it's always been in like other Mario Karts. It's like you earn the characters by getting the coins, right? But you don't have to do that this way, anymore, because we have like these missions. Like the mission to me would be like make a whole lot more sense if, hey, you earn, I don't know, Pauline by like completing this mission in like the city, right? okay, you
find
complete
her in the city. Yeah.
yeah, like hey, the Peach medallions, all of those are for collecting new characters, and then like the question mark boxes are when you run over there, is you get a new cart, right? Which that would give you some incentive to like keep exploring the world. Like again, I'm just coming up with those off the top of my head. There's probably a lot more thought that needs to go into them, but just to get like a sticker, it doesn't like after playing as much as I have, like if I see a Peach medallion and it's not too like difficult, I may try and grab it, but like I kind of lose interest because I'm like, well, I'm not gonna get anything for going through this other than just like, well, I did it,
Yeah.
and that to me, like I said, makes it a really big missed opportunity. I think that the caveat there is the P-switch missions. Like, it first, like when they showed the P-switch missions, right, in the direct, I was like, oh, okay. And then when I actually started trying them out in the game, I was like, oh, some of these are really fun. And then it's weird because I've kind of gone back to that thing, like, okay, like,
Yeah.
some of them are super easy. Some of them are like a little more complicated than they probably need to be. But again, I'm not, unless there's some sort of thing where like you get all of the P-switch missions and you get like, golden Mario or metal Mario or something. There's just not really an incentive to keep going. You just get the stickers, which I'm like, I don't care about those.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. It's like there's just not a ton of like incentive to want to do them. It doesn't really I don't know. I mean, it's something to do, I guess. But like, yeah. It needs work.
Yeah. I think there are ways that they could still salvage it and that they could actually make it where like, hey, yeah, if you've already done it up to this point, like you could unlock a new track, or like that was another thing I think I talked in like our previous video on Mario Kart World is like the whole world was available for you to discover right off the bat, and I'm like, that would have been a big incentive if like you had to drive to like Moo Moo Meadows or something. Like you had to get to it and unlock it, right? Even just by driving, you're exploring the world and coming across it. So the other thing that is kind of weird, I really think it needs 200cc. Like, I think if there's any Mario Kart ever that needed 200cc, it's this Mario Kart.
For sure.
Like, I love like all the tracks, all that, but like that one, the Special Cup, you're playing with like, going from point to point is pretty much a straight line in a lot of regards. Like once you get from track to track, and I'm like, there are points where it's like cool and like as much stuff is going on, it can kind of start to feel like you're not really going as fast. Like that big bridge you go across, I've been on that several times, and although there's boosts and everything on it, there's points where I'm kind of just like, okay, yeah, like, and I feel like if you had 200cc and it really felt like you were flying down some of these straightaways, if you were really flying down some of these straightaways, I feel like it would add just a whole extra dimension to, the gameplay, and really show off, how much energy that there really can be in this game. It would just take the energy to an additional level, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, both to have like the racing and then also be able to drive 200cc in free roam too.
Yeah.
So, do you even get to choose your engine class in free roam? I didn't even think about that.
No, you don't. It's just, you just hit the button, which I like. You can just hit the plus button.
That's
or whatever.
Cool. Yeah.
Go right into free roam with whatever character is like up there. So one thing I do like about like exploring the world is like all the outfits that they already get with the different characters. I don't know how many you've got, but I'm starting to get overwhelmed by how many different outfits there are when I go to like the selection screen.
Yeah, I mean, you can hit X and it toggles it to where it at least puts them together, and that's nice. But like, just make it like Smash Bros. You pick your character, and then you can press a button to change what it is. Like, what is wrong with that? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
That's a good transition into just like a quick fire list of like small things that I'd like to see changed, and you might have some of these too. But While we're on the topic of free roam, like, I would love for something to pop up on the screen when you reach a new area, or when you like reach a new track. And here's what is confusing: is it does this on free roam, but it doesn't do it on Grand Prix when you're in transition tracks or on knockout tours. So what I want to see is like on knockout tour, a little banner like pop up and say Moo Moo Meadows. Like, so I don't know, just to so you know, like, this is the track.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I guess we didn't write this down, but maybe this is a topic we can come back to in a second. Is like the whole idea of the transition tracks in like the Grand Prix, because I have mixed feelings on that. But we'll come back to that. But when you're in Grand Prix, you finish a race, then you go to the transition mode, and then or the transition track, and then like you don't know where the actual track even begins.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I just like for something to pop up and say like the name of the track. Same thing with knockout tour. Like you're going, you go on to the next one, and then now it says like, you know, you've reached Moo Moo Meadows or something.
Mm-hmm.
But holding that thought, just my quick fire list. I'd love to see like a stats page. Another thing Smash Bros had that I feel like this game needs. To see things like your playtime, like your online wins, like what character you played the most as, vehicles. Because a lot of this stuff is being kept track of in the background. Like it pops up and tells you like how many kilometers you've driven and how many coins you have and stuff like that. So it's like, I'd like to have a page where I could just go and look at that.
Mm-hmm.
And then another thing too is, it really bothered me that 4-player split screen drops to 30 FPS. That was just kind of a letdown because it always bothered me with Mario Kart 8, and I was hoping for that to be an improvement.
Yeah.
And I would even take like a resolution drop for it to stay, like if it wants to drop down to 720 when you're playing 4-player, like that's fine. But it does, and it's a better looking 30, but it's still like a noticeable difference from 2 and 1 player. And so that's kind of a thing. One other thing before I turn it back to you. Why? I just thought of this. Why does it turn on auto acceleration and steering by default when you're playing multiplayer? It only doesn't accelerate, actually. Why does that have to be the default?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it works out for me because a lot of times, you know, I've been playing with like, you know, kids and stuff and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I go in and I check it, and then it's on for every player except for me, who've already turned it off. But yeah, I don't know why that's the default thing.
Yeah, that drove me crazy with Mario Kart 8, and I thought that they would fix it, and it didn't. It's like, so many times I forgot to turn it off, and then you have to like pause and turn it off. I don't know. I wish I would have to choose to have that on than for it to be on by default and have to remember to turn it off. That just drives me crazy.
So this kind of brings us to, I guess, the answer that, you know, we asked the question at the beginning. Is this game $80? I know from my perspective, and this is not a knock on Mario Kart World, this game is incredibly fun. It's incredibly well done. It is 100%, in my opinion, not an $80 game. I think you could make a case that it might be a $70 game. I feel like right now with the content that's in it, even with the open world, like, again, I made this comparison with other games. Breath of the Wild. Like, I was able to put 200 hours into that game. I have no idea how I would ever put 200 hours into this game, except for just playing it over and over and over, the same tracks over and over, and never really getting that much more of a new experience, which, I mean, that's kind of Mario Kart, I guess. But 8, I think, really did some things to change that for everybody. If I were recommending this game right now, I would 100% say, if you don't have a Switch, get this in the bundle. If you don't get this in the bundle, I would wait until they add some more stuff. Paying $80 is a pretty steep price after playing it for 30 hours. I feel like that's
Yeah.
a very, very steep price for this game. But I think there's some things they could do to get it closer to that $80 price tag. So I think some things in the future that they could add, because certainly they've got to be thinking about the longevity. Like, this is going to be the Mario Kart title for like the next 5 years, right? People are going to be playing this. So I would love to see some additional tracks. I think there's some great opportunities to have like micro tracks. Like, they've got, I don't know if you've come across these with the P-Switch missions, but I've come across several, and it'll be like, hey, race this tribute track to Cocoa Mountain or whatever, and it's a P-Switch mission.
Yeah.
You go around a couple of times. Obviously, like, Mario Kart Circuit, there's plenty of like things that you could add in this game to add more tracks, especially in between. I think right off the bat that would add a lot more value, because again, I've played everything so far. Not that I'm an expert on it, but I'm like, okay, that was fun.
Yeah.
I think more battle modes. I have played the battle modes. They are hard. I feel like a lot harder than Mario Kart 8. And we need more of them. Like,
Yeah.
that would add a lot of value to the game.
Yeah. I've tried to play them several times, and I just get bored. I don't know. I mean, when I was playing it 4-player split screen when I had some friends over, it was like kind of fun, but it's just like the Shine game on 8 was like one of my favorite ones ever. I loved the Piranha Plant one. We said all this before. But they're just, I don't know, it's not very fun in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some of the track, like the maps just feel kind of lazy and uninspired. Like, some of them, they just like cut a section out of like another track and just said, all right, here you go, and like gated off the parts. And some of them are just like too big, even for 24 players.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't know. I'm not really loving battle mode. I really hope they update that in the future.
Yeah.
What I'm hoping for is I would love for this game to kind of have like the Animal Crossing New Horizon treatment, where the first like couple years, like, there's just constant stuff being added and new features, and new modes, and new outfits, and there's like seasonal stuff that comes in, and I would love to see stuff like that come into Mario Kart, where it's like, I don't know, maybe there could be events, or there's like challenges you have to do in a certain time to get this like prize that will never be a thing again. I know Pokemon is big on stuff like that. So just things to make it more, I don't know, just a little deeper, and just make it feel more complete, because it doesn't feel like regardless of the price, it doesn't really feel complete right now. I would love to see more tracks. Like, what is it, 32, I think? That just feels so low. And we were spoiled with Mario Kart 8 because there was DLC, and I know that game didn't start with 98 tracks or whatever it has now, 96. So there you have to assume those are coming, but I just worry, A, it's going to be a while, and B, it's going to be for this $20 DLC. Like,
yeah,
that's how you make it an $80 game, in my opinion. We bought the game, we have it for life, and we shouldn't have to pay for anything else. Or if we do, it's a long ways away. Like, it should be towards the end of its life before they try to bring any paid DLC, in my opinion, if they're charging $80 for it.
Yeah, I think I would be, as, again, I didn't pay 80, but other people are probably going to. Exactly. I would be, if I had bought this, I already would be kind of frustrated with the $80 price tag. Because, again, I'm not trying to knock on the open world aspect, but I just see, like I mentioned, a lot of missed opportunity. Like, you could have done things differently to really add a lot of value into the game. With everything that's there right now, it just would have added more playtime for challenging the players. And I think if you were to say, like, hey, we're going to add you know, these other tracks. We're going to add other characters, things like that. But you also got to pay more. I don't know that I would do that at this point, especially
Yeah.
because, I mean, no offense, they charged $80 for a game, and it's not worth $80. So that would be a hard sell for me to say, well, I believe you this time that you're going to sell me the content and it's going to be worth it. But I
Hmm.
mean, but I mean, anyway, I think there's probably a million people on the internet that have probably said that at this point.
Yeah.
But I mean, to kind of wrap it up, like, the game is so freaking fun. It really is. Like, we're
Yeah.
80 bucks, 60 bucks, $100. Like, it take the price out of the equation. Like, if you are looking for a really, really, really fun game, like, outside of the price, that's really the only thing negative, I guess, that I have to say about the game. I mean, it looks amazing. It
Mhm.
sounds amazing. It plays amazing. It is just an absolute blast. You know, as far as Mario Kart games go, I mean, I think this is probably maybe their best one yet. Like, at least from what we've seen so far, this is really, really, really good.
Yeah, like you can see the game for what it isn't, and you can see the game for what it is.
Mm,
And there's a lot to say about what it isn't, but there's a lot to say about what it is too. And what is there is awesome. It's very fun. It's just fresh. It's awesome. Knockout Tour in of itself is enough to take the series to an all new level. And it does.
absolutely.
And the tracks are just it's just awesome. It's really really great what's there for a lifelong fan. It's a breath of fresh air. I
Yeah.
just wish there was a little bit more air.
Yeah.
But hey, it's something for now.
Well, guys, that's been our kind of first impression with Mario Kart World after playing it for what, 30 hours, I guess, almost. You know, we loved it. We're going to keep playing it. You know, definitely looking forward to some of the new games they have coming out, Donkey Kong Bonanza and you know, Elden Ring and, you know, Borderlands 4, like some of these cool third-party titles. So we're going to be trying to dive into some of those and, you know, keep checking our channel. We're trying to do streams on stuff we're getting our hands on, and, you know, trying to talk about these things with the Switch too. It's fresh, it's fun, it's new. So check us out on all our socials. Those should have been scrolling across the bottom of the screen. And until next time, guys, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.